won't find the phantom. He finds you.
G'day everyone, and thanks for tuning in to this episode of Expand the Phantom podcast. This is put together by the Chronicle Chamber team. You can find our website at chroniclechamber.com, and of course we hope that you will like, subscribe, and all the rest of it to this podcast wherever you have found it, on YouTube or Spotify or whatever your favourite app is. I think this is episode 294. This is Dan Fraser speaking, and I'm introducing the sounds of Brisbane Supanova weekend. It was the weekend in Brisbane, a gathering of Phantom fans who came together for what was, I found out, the 100th Supanova in Australia, which is a pretty cool achievement. And coming together of, as I say, fans of the Phantom for a bit of a social weekend. Obviously, well, not obviously, but it was a lower key event than what we see mid-year at the Sydney Supanova with the Lee Falk Memorial Bangala Explorers Club dinner. But good opportunity at the Supanova to catch up with a few Phantom artists, and you'll hear shortly, me touching base with Alex Tripp, Jamie Johnson and Lauren Marshall at their booths at Supanova, and a little bit about that. And then, but then a sketch-off between the three of them, which worked out well to have a Phantom, the Phantom as the subject of the sketch-off. The Supanova event itself was pretty quiet, Phantom-wise, but as far as Supanovas go, it had everything you might have been looking for all your pop culture needs. All right, so I'm starting in Artist Alley, and I'm here with Alex Tripp. How are you, Alex?
Yeah, I'm doing very well, man. Thank you very much. Yourself?
Yeah, very good. I've just sort of started my wander through Supanova, and you're the first person I've come to see it.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you very much.
No, very excited. I was actually about to wander past because I was looking and I couldn't see the fan. You've got him too low down.
I put the signage down there.
Oh, of course, yes. I was looking up.
Yeah.
No, but big sign with the Phantom cover from, 1907. You've got a few Phantom comics on the desk there. Good to see that you've got some Phantom comics on the desk there. I
got to spread them out, but
yep.
Yeah, they're there.
Well, we're still early in the day.
Yeah.
Yep. 9 there.
Today's a little bit more relaxed.
Yes. Yeah.
Friday, everyone's probably at work.
There's a few more school groups than I expected, I've got to be honest. So.
Yeah, I know. What are they, jigging?
I don't know. I think they might be esports teams or something. So obviously we're still early. Probably haven't had many people come through yet.
No.
Okay, well, I hope to get very busy over the next couple of days.
Tomorrow should be good.
Yeah.
It's the 100th show after all.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that.
You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, it's Supanova's 100th show.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well,
there's a lot of guests, a lot of actors and stuff, so
there
should pick up.
Yeah. Not a lot for Phantom fans, to be fair. There's you, I think.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah. You're representing.
Lauren's here and Jamie's here.
Yeah, and I'm going to go past Lauren and Jamie shortly. And you're doing a sketch-off with them later?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, okay.
Phantom
theme, surely.
Let's try and make it Phantom theme, right? Because Phantom's going to turn 100 very soon.
Yeah, that's right.
And Supanova's gone 100 shows.
There's got to be something we can do there.
Maybe Phantom eating a cake with a 99.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah.
No, very cool. And look, what are you doing in the Phantom world at the moment? You got any work coming up, or?
Still working on that story that I can't really share very much, but it's going well.
Okay.
And there's a cover coming up.
Good.
Very soon.
Because it has been. I don't think you've had one this year, have you?
No.
No.
No, I've had two this year.
I'm not paying attention.
Yeah, I think I've had two. Pretty sure.
Okay. And one soonish.
Yeah, it'll be special. That's all I can say.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right. Well, there's a few special brews coming out in the next 3-4 months. So, yeah, very good.
Yeah, I'm excited. I love working on Phantom stuff. If you guys don't know, it was my first ever paid work professionally, was doing a cover for the Phantom.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and give back as much as I can.
Yeah. So he really launched you on this path?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So I'm very loyal in terms of that stuff. So, yeah. It'll always be close to my heart. You know?
Awesome. Righto, so we've wandered down Articelli a little bit further and up to Jamie Johnson. How are you, Jamie?
Well, as always, my friend. How are you?
Yeah, very good. Good to see you made it all the way up to Brisbane. How'd you enjoy the drive and the Brisbane weather?
Good. I'm sweating so much I feel like I swam here, but yeah, it was it was a very smooth run. A lot of the roadworks have subsided, so it was a very smooth run into Brizzy yesterday, so it was good.
No, good to see. And you've got a massive booth here. Like you're taking up more room than just about anyone else.
Well, that wasn't by design. I paid for an extra one, and I ended up getting an extra one on top of that. So I have mega desk this year.
Yeah, no, you're social distancing from everybody else.
From myself.
And look, speaking of the booth, it looks fantastic. Very impressive the way you set it up these days. A lot of when are you going to stop wasting your time with these Ninja Turtles and get back into the fandom?
It's the 40th anniversary of the Turtles, my friend. So I think this is my last show of the year. So I think we'll return to business as usual next year. And as we were discussing earlier, I'll make sure I do maybe some convention specific prints for you guys that are outside of the published stuff. So
cool.
Yeah.
It is good timing, though. I see that you've got a copy of issue 1983, I think it is. You're back with Frew doing covers.
It's good to be back, mate. It's I'm a bit bummed. I'm born in 1984 and I missed out by one issue there, but very apt timing that I put a really big American flag front and center, which Jermaine had pointed out to me during the election. But
you timed that well.
Well, I drew it months ago. It just happened to come out. I think Dudley's playing a bit of chess behind the scenes.
Yeah. And, I was about to say speaking of Dudley, but it's Duncan, really, with the Operation Domino cover on the back as well.
Yeah, it was great. It's Duncan's a great mate, and he's obviously cultivating a very, it's like the long con, so to speak. He's weaving historical events into phantom lore, and it's just really exciting to see his love of history and how he can kind of weave it into canon. And it was great to just collab with him. He of course owns the original art, so I knew that ahead of time, so we collabed on it. He had some input on the cover, and I was really happy with how it turned out. It was nice to do a bit of a split, and the split face is a bit of a homage to Hush, Jim Lee, my usual thing. So
right. Yes.
Yeah, it was a fun one.
Yeah, cool. And done well, given that they're two very different stories that have come together. Hey, while we're talking about Operation Domino, can I get your artist's viewpoint on Fabio's art? We've been talking about it a lot as we've reviewed these stories.
Yeah, look, it's great. He very a lot of heavy reference, but used in a really tasteful way. And I think he's I think Phantom has got a very Superman-esque look to him. Yeah, bit of Henry Cavill action. Yes. But I dig that. I actually think he's got the right physique, and he's definitely the right guy, because I know he took over from Pitchy, and I think that was a nice blend. He took the baton and ran with it, and I really enjoyed reading it first of all, and then obviously curating a cover out of it. So it was really cool.
Yeah. And one last thing on 1983, there's a little what do they call it? Little Easter egg on the front cover. Do you want to tell people about that, or let them find it themselves?
Look, I'll tell you about it, and I'll give you the short version. When I first heard that I was doing a Ninja Turtle cover, I was in the middle of drawing a Phantom cover. It was for I can't remember what the issue was, but basically the Phantom was holding up a coin, and the Swedish artist had put a little Ninja Turtle on there. So it was a weird little, bit of irony there, and I put a little foot symbol, which is the Shredder's clan, the Foot Clan symbol on the armor, I guess, on the front cover.
Very cool, and well done on slipping that past KFS and
TM.
Exactly. So just to wrap up about the convention here, we're talking on Friday, early days. Even so, I've had to wait in line behind a cast of thousands who are lining up for you. What are you looking forward to this weekend? Anything in particular?
Look, it's the 100th show. They're really just going all out. It's a huge space. It's very spread out too, which is great. It's quite a hot day, as you know. So I'm just looking forward to catching up with a lot of people. Brisbane's one of my favourite shows. I've got a lot of friends and family up here too. So it's a social one for me, as well as that. But I'm doing a sketch off with Lauren and Trip today, which is great. We got called up to kind of add a little bit of spectacle to the Friday.
Yep.
But it's a 3-day show, so I'll be pacing myself, that's for sure.
For sure. Well, you're certainly looking a lot more rested than you were at the Sydney show last time I saw you.
Well, I didn't do something like 80,000 hours leading into it, so definitely try to pace myself coming into it, so yeah.
And I did say wrapping up, but last question.
Yep.
Reflecting back on that whole fundraising experience
Yep.
with the Leaf Walk dinner and the thousands of sketches and thinkings that you did and all the rest of it, what's your reflections on all of that?
Just how willing the Phantom community was, both from artists and from the collectors' perspective. Obviously, it was a great cause. No one had to do it. We had people as big as Nicola Scott and Chris Val, but just all down the line, even to artists who have passed away, their estate. People were just stoked to even be that we're still remembering them. I think it's all about legacy. So it was just great that everyone was just willing to throw the hat in the ring. There wasn't any pushback. We were able to raise a great amount of money for a great cause, and in tandem with the dinner, I think we just set records. The boys selling the tickets on the night, it was just the vibes were incredible.
All right, so a couple of booths further down, Artist Alley, and I'm here with Lauren Marshall. How are you, Lauren?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, very good. Thanks for taking the time to have a chat. How's your Brisbane Supernova going so far?
It's good. It's a lot stickier here than Perth, but it's really nice. I haven't been to Brisbane for quite some time, so it's going to be nice to see and catch up with a lot of the people here.
Yeah. So did you used to come regularly, or?
Back when I could go to different shows, I used to come quite a bit, but it's been probably around 6-7 years since I've been to Brisbane.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Not much has changed, I imagine.
It was just as big and just as, like I said, sweaty hot mess.
Yeah. And the other guys have talked about this being the 100th Supanova.
Correct, yeah.
What does that mean for you?
Well, Supanova kind of was a big backbone in terms of getting my career off the ground, because that's where I started. I was just tabling in Artist Alley, paying my way, getting my name out, so it was really good networking wise. So it's nice to see that the convention's still going strong, and there's a lot of support behind it. So it means a lot to a lot of us artists.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's good to hear. And obviously I've come past looking for Phantom stuff, and you've got one copy of The Boy Detectives left on the table, and so not even Friday lunch.
No, I've been stripped dry, so hopefully I'll get a restock soon, but I do have another issue coming out soon, which you'll hear more about shortly, probably within the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
So hopefully that comes out soon, and I'll make sure that I actually stock up on all the goodies and be well and truly ready for the next shows.
Yeah, very good. No, that'll be awesome. We do talk on the podcast about how much we love your style. It's a point of difference with the other, and that's what Frew is doing really well, I think, is they're getting lots of different styles.
They're expanding out now, and I was personally quite surprised that they came for me, because my style is quite left field for the Phantom, but I think it brings like you said, a different aspect to it, and it just adds on to that portfolio of his style and stuff like that. So once you go through, you grow up, he'll grow up, and changes all the time, evolves.
Yeah, very good. And we just mentioned before we started recording, the sketch off is coming up soon with you and Jamie and Alex.
Yeah, you're talking to the winner right here.
Okay, all right. All right, you heard it here first. The other boys were not anywhere near as confident, so...
No, you gotta be in it to win it. As soon as you start believing it's going to happen, that's how it works.
Good stuff. All right, well, I'll certainly be popping over to watch that one, and looking forward to seeing it.
Awesome.
All right, well, thank you very much for your time. I'll let you get you're sketching a Phantom commission as we speak.
I am, correct.
So, and that's someone's picking it up this weekend?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'll better let you go then.
Come on up, folks. This is Jamie. Give Jamie a big round of applause. Alex, who has his own camera because he's making a documentary about how awesome you all are. It's all just turned on him, though. And Lauren, hello, Lauren. How are you? Lauren is dreading the fact that we'll pull out Wonder Woman. Okay, so what we usually do when we do this, there she is. What we usually do when we do this is I have a range of characters, and I get you guys to randomly draw one, and then we have kind of styles to draw them in, and I get you to draw one of those. And the reason I do it that way is so that I don't get the blame. You see, otherwise I get the blame for everything. There he is. But we're doing things a little differently today. We're doing things a little differently today, and that is because this is the 100th Supanova. Wow, you give them a round of applause. Yay! So they brought me in because I'm 100 years old, so I'm going to be host. We got 100 Supanova, and we've got a character that very soon will be turning 100. Anybody know who that might be? Yes? Who do you think it is?
Mickey Mouse?
Oh, I haven't thought of that. We could do that, but yeah, the mouse. He's over 100.
He's already over 100.
He's over 100. Yeah. Okay, there is a clue. There is a clue as to somebody who may be turning 100 very soon. Any ideas?
Could it be the Phantom?
It could indeed be the Phantom. And since all three of our very talented artists have drawn the Phantom,
I was going to say Royd.
Royd's not 100. Okay, he just looks 100. Okay, that's our intern over there. We'll tell you about him soon. So we're going to do the Phantom today, but you still get to pick a scenario. All right, and we should make the Phantom person pick it so that you can all blame him. So pick one, and just from anywhere, it doesn't matter. Thank you. Oh, actually, this goes really well. Phantom in film noir style. Okay, so we give our guys 35 minutes. 35 minutes to draw. See it's up there on the clock? See that? And they do that because they don't trust me. They've actually put a clock up there so that I have to go to time, so that I don't make them give them all the time in the world. So there's now a clock up there, and we are going to start that clock right now. So the clock is ticking, see, counting down. So what we do is we give them the first 5 minutes just to start to get things organised for themselves, and then if you have a favourite artist up here on the stage, what you need to do is you need to hinder the other two by asking them questions, you see. So that way you give your favourite artist more time to get the drawing done. At the end of the 35 minutes, we then pick our favourite drawing for today. Now this is done via acclamation. That's a big word for clapping. Okay, just in case you didn't know. It's 100, so we've got to do big old words. Okay, so yes, we just do by applause, and we decide who our favourite is. And then from there, we then draw the raffles. Now we have, it's Grogu. I love the fact he eats frogs. Anyway, so then what we're going to do is we're going to give you all a raffle ticket. So make sure you do get your raffle ticket. And anybody here who is eating had better not bought enough for me, because I haven't had dinner yet, lunch yet. So, oh, look at this, say hi, no, straight away. All right, so we're going to give you all a raffle ticket, and this will go into the draw. After we've done the sketch off, we will draw the raffle tickets. So, look, I found Wally. Yeah, look, I found Wally. Best book I ever saw in a bookstore once was, you know how they used to have those, all those books for dummies, you know, like Windows for Dummies and Excel for Dummies. They had this one that was called Where's Waldo for Dummies? And when you had opened it up, it was just scenes with Waldo. That was it. There's nobody else there. I thought that was really good. All right, so this is, give Royd a big round of applause. Royd is actually in charge of all our comic artists. So he's always the guy who brings this really talented comic artist here for us to be able to do everything with. And we let him keep coming out because one day he's going to get the job right. But he's going to give you a raffle ticket so that we can get into this. Now, as I said, we give the guys the first 5 minutes just to be able to start, just to be able to get an idea of what they're putting into play, and then we start asking questions. You can ask anything you want, and as I said, if there is a favourite artist that you have up there, you need to ask the questions of the other two, just so that you give them more time to be able to complete their drawings. All right, here we go. So now it's question time. If you have questions for any of our very talented artists, put your hand up and you can ask them all about things. I'll start, and we'll do one for everybody, just like everybody on the panel. We'll start with Jamie up the far end there. You will notice that Jamie sits further over because basically nobody likes him. So, just kidding, just kidding. We'll start with Jamie. Jamie, how did you get into it? Where did you develop the passion
for this
drawing
or for Phantom?
For drawing.
So my long story short, both my parents kind of collected comics. My mum collected a lot of the old Harvey, Archie, Hot Stuff, Little Devil, that sort of stuff. And my dad was into the Ditko Spider-Man and everything. So, I was into Ninja Turtles and all that sort of thing. So it was always just kind of drawing what you see and what you like and whatever. And yeah, just over time, got more into the multimedia of it. So obviously the cartoons and things is what you consume, and then got introduced to actual comics, and then from there it was just kind of recreating the images and kind of, I'm self-taught, so just kind of learning through osmosis, I guess. And then just, over time, just kind of asked my way into doing it for a job.
I actually think we should get a whole new show going. We should do the Teenage Mutant Phantom Turtles. What a good crossover that would be. We're going to have, because you can have there's four turtles, so you can have 4 different eras of the fandom. They still haven't made our TV show, Lauren. Remember I had a wonderful panel with Lauren and Alex and a couple of other people in Sydney where we were discussing the fandom, and we decided we could make a TV show, and every episode of the show would be a different era of the fandom. An Indiana Jones sort of character finds the Phantom Cave, and every episode is another page in the Chronicles. Alex, how did you get into all of this insane stuff?
Probably when I was 5, 6 is the last I can remember. I used to go to the newsagent with my dad, and we used to pick up Phantom comics, superhero comics, and that's how I learned how to read. I used to draw a lot of the panels and the characters. But that was my earliest experience, I would think.
And Lauren, for yourself?
I actually started off doing animation when I was a lot younger. I left school, did my diploma in animation, didn't quite find as many opportunities available at that time, and I felt I was still quite young, so I decided to go into more static imagery, doing storyboarding and stuff like that, and that sort of naturally progressed into comic book work.
Again, for all 3 of you, I know all 3 of you do have a passion for the Phantom, so what is it about the Phantom in particular that attracts you to that character?
You can see yourself in the Phantom. It's about being the best possible version of yourself you can be. So he doesn't have superpowers. He fights for the little guy. His moral values and look. Long story short, I was a huge Batman fan when I was younger. He's Batman without the gadgets, basically. So he's Jungle Batman in my eyes.
I don't know, gravitated towards him. I might be biased because that's what I first read when I was a kid, but I had a strong relationship with my dad. Then as I got older, I didn't have a relationship as much with him, so I kind of understood how Phantom's dynamic was with his dad, how his dad's always fighting crime and he's never around. So I don't know. And then trying to be the best version of yourself, I guess. It's like what Jamie was saying. I don't want to repeat the same thing, but pretty much.
Lauren, for you, what attracted you to the Phantom?
So my uncle's always been a really big, huge fan of the Phantom, and I've always known about the Phantom growing up. Personally, never read it, up until now, obviously. But I think what resonates with me the most is the actual community that surrounds the Phantom. They're also passionate, and I relate to that a lot more, and therefore that sort of moves into my artwork as well, and I enjoy drawing them because of the fans, pretty much.
So, anybody got questions? Put your hands up if you do have it up. We have a question here. Yep, not a problem. Excuse me, Wonder Woman. I'm just going to squeeze in there.
My question is for Jamie. If you could pick any character to draw, who would it be into a comic?
Was that one for?
For you, Jamie, if you could pick any character.
Any character to what? Sorry, could you repeat it? I'm so sorry.
To draw. As a career, if you could pick anyone to draw.
Look, professionally, I've been very, very lucky. I think a lot of the stuff, it's kind of, you project these things into reality and you kind of dress for the job you want. I used to dress as Batman when I was little, and that's the only one that hasn't come true yet. But I also used to dress as the Phantom and the Ninja Turtle, so 2 out of the 3 have worked. So I'm guessing, I think Batman would be the one that I haven't done in a meaningful way that I'd love to kind of have a crack at.
Well, having said that, you now have to do your Batman voice from us. That's it. Round of applause for the own Batman. Hello, question.
Hi. If artistic, like you have a very artistic job, so how do you cope with creative block and things like that when you rely on it for an income?
Lauren, I think you're good at that, fighting through the tough mental block.
I see what you're doing.
Do you have it? No, I'm actually curious because honestly, she's one of the most mentally tough people out there. So, I'm just curious how Lauren would do it. With me, it's just ADHD meds. So,
I second that one. For me, it's, if you want to make a career out of this, you're just going to have to work through it. It is all about determination. And I know sometimes you look at a paper and absolutely nothing is working, and it's okay to take a day or two to be able to reset, reconnect. But I think it's all about making sure that you do enjoy the process and really thrive in the fact that you will learn something from getting through a creative block as well. So look at it as more as an opportunity, more so than as a barrier.
I tend to just go off and do something else, and then along the way, I'll be like doing small little bits of research every now and again, and then maybe an image or something that I'm doing or something that I'm watching sparks like what I was doing previously, and then I don't know, look at it with fresh eyes, and then it seems to come back.
Also,
don't put too much pressure on yourself. You know what I mean?
Ask your teammates as well. Like
exactly.
If we ever have a rough time or like something's not working, get some fresh eyes on it as well.
Just saying that, how close is the comic community in Australia? Because I mean, I see you guys all the time, and you all seem to get on so well.
Yeah, I feel like we can all pretty much reach out if we're having a tough time. I know I personally suffered through some pretty bad artist block for a cover I did back, I think it was 2018. And I really just, no matter what I was doing, I was there and the idea in my head, but it wasn't connecting what was in my head to the paper, and the proportion was off. It was a very tricky angle, and it was like the perspective was really forced. And there's an artist that I really, and I know that he's quite known for this sort of stuff. His name is Phan. And I reached out to him. I was friendly with him. I'd never met him in person. It's always been an online kind of thing. But I basically said, can I just ask you a question? I'm kind of struggling with this. What would you kind of do? So he actually talked me through it, but he goes, if I was doing it, and he kind of did a little bit of a draw over, and he goes, this is the idea. So I went, cool, kind of went away, kind of started again, but it kind of got me out of my own head. And I ended up putting a lot into that and ended up winning cover of the year for that one. So that was but what I'm saying is, I wouldn't have been able to do that without the seasoned pro. He's been doing this since I was a kid kind of thing. And he could have just gone beat a kid, you know what I mean? But he really took the time, and I think that's just that Aussie kind of mentality, that spirit, so yeah.
Cool. Oh, Wonder Woman's got a question. I'll be right back. And I've got another one down the back. Hello.
This is for all the artists, actually. So I've noticed you're all using different mediums today, ink, felt pen and a texter. Do you use all different mediums all the time, or you've been told what to use today, or do you
We wouldn't dare tell them what to use, believe me, no.
You'll try.
Yeah, so that's my question today. Do you dabble in all types of mediums, even oils and watercolours?
For me personally, it's about what I'm trying to learn and what I'm trying to study. For me, it's about the ink washes and the using large blocks of black, because I've never been comfortable with that. So that's why I'd be doing this, but I will use anything. If the piece calls for it, I will give it a crack. There was one piece I did recently, and I wanted some really realistic blood on it, so I rummaged through my partner's Warhammer collection and looked through his paint, and I found one that was legitimately meant to look like coagulated blood, so I used that on the piece. Be open to trialing and testing new things, but the reason I'm doing it today is because I'm trying to teach myself some more stuff.
rummaging through somebody's Warhammer, like that's like tantamount to using somebody's cloth scissors for cutting paper, you know. You can start wars that way.
He married me. What's mine is his.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
His is mine.
Alex, for you, is there a preferred medium that you like?
Pencil and ink, and then I would scan it and color it on the computer. But for today, I'm not making the mistake I did last week. I went to inks and I didn't get enough time to do the webbing for Spider-Man and stuff, so I'm sticking to pencil this time.
Alex did an awesome Spider-Man celebrating his 99th birthday last year, because like last week it was Supanova's 99th, so the three artists that we had, and they could draw their favourite character. The only condition was that they had to be celebrating their 99th birthday, and Alex did an awesome Spider-Man last week, so yeah. Jamie, for you, do you have a preferred medium?
I jump around. It's mixed medium for me. So I'll do pen and ink. I do a lot of Copic work, but if I'm doing, if I want depth, I'll do Copic for the foreground and ink wash in the background. It just depends on what I'll do Copics and I'll add some Prismacolor pencil to it to just give it some tone. It just depends. I just play around. I try and keep a lot of different material. I literally just start throwing ink onto a paper until it starts to take the shape I like, basically.
There was a whole John Edwards medium joke there, but I don't think anybody would get it, so it doesn't matter. Question.
Hi guys, I have a question for each of you. Jamie, I saw on Instagram that you actually went to the creators of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles place over in America and saw the plaque there. I want to know what it was like. And Lauren, I heard that you actually became a concept artist for Spider-Man 2, so I want to know how you got it. And Alex, what's your next upcoming project you've been heading through in the future?
Okay, so the Turtles thing, it was awesome. It was a very quick trip. So it was the 40th anniversary of the Ninja Turtles. I wasn't even a guest at the show. I got a table. A collector was very kind to fly me over. I was there literally for 4 days. It was a 3-day show. Spent more time in the air than I did in America, but I did get to see the birthplace of the Turtles, where it was created, and that's been a big influence on me in my life. So it was a very cool experience to kind of do that, but also meet the original voice actors of the show and stuff. It was a very indulgent, to young me, I guess, to 7-year-old me that would have, loved that stuff. So.
Actually, you got to have the fun when we had the Turtle guys out here as well with us.
Yeah.
June last year, so yeah. Lauren, for you, Spider-Man 2, concept artist?
So it wasn't concept work. I did, so what they needed, I was reached out to do some graffiti pieces, because obviously being in New York, there's heaps of graffiti, so I was reached out to by an external company that does a lot of the, you see all the little bits and pieces that kind of make the scene in all of the games that you see, and they needed different kind of artists to do different concepts and artworks just to throw and slap on the wall. And because my style is a little bit gritty, a little bit graffiti-like, it was the right fit, and it was fun. It was really good.
So you sat through that whole movie just to be able to point out, that's mine.
No, it was the game.
The game.
Too,
yeah.
And I was waiting until the absolute very end of the credits, and I saw my name, and I was like, yes.
That's so cool.
And Alex, for you, question was?
What am I working on?
What's your next project? Yes.
A special Phantom cover that I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about yet. Phantom story. That is taking a long time, but I can't say anything.
Okay. All right. We have a question here. Hello. What's your name? Lincoln. What did you want to ask?
This is for Alex. What brought you into the comic community?
Good question. So my story is not the typical story. I drew as a kid for a long time, but there was a guy at school that told my parents what career I should take, and he said, go become a graphic designer. There's no money in art. So for the next 11 years after that, I was a graphic designer and a printer. And then I had a workplace injury, which almost left me paralyzed. So I got like 2 discs out in my back, and I got nerve damage in my middle back. I started drawing again. That was 2016. fast forward 9 years later, and yeah, I'm doing this now professionally. My first professional job was 3 years ago. Yeah, so.
Was that really?
Yeah.
Is that
for Frew?
Wow, that's gone quick.
Yeah.
Now, just to terrorise our lovely artists up there, we are under 15 minutes. There is less than 15 minutes to go.
Plenty of time.
Plenty of time. So we, of course, do get to our last, when we get to the last 5 minutes, we stop asking them questions to give them time to finish off. And then when we get to the 10-second countdown, I will need your help when we get to that point. We have a question.
This is for Lauren. What was your favourite piece that you've made in the past?
Oh, that's a good one. God, there's been heaps. I've really got a lot out of that Ronin piece that I did recently that, I think I've got ink all over my face, that I did as a learning, it was the red one with the two-tone one. And the reason I like it is because I let myself take my time and I gave myself a little bit of grace, which I haven't been doing that recently as a newish mum. So it was a good eye-opener for me to be able to take a step back and be like, look, it's okay to take your time. And I could see my work elevate substantially with that piece because I did give myself that time to be able to do it. But yeah, mostly any turtle piece, to be honest.
We have a question from over here, this nice young lady.
Hello, this is a question for all of you. If you could be drawing anything right now, what would it be and how would you do it?
The Phantom with this stuff on the stage.
That was a cop-out. Hang on, let's make it your dream project. If you could go for a dream project, what would it be and in what medium would you be doing it?
I'd love to draw my own characters that I created. Some of you in the audience, I think, know them, but that would be my dream to be drawing that full time. Apart from that, I'd love to have a crack at Batman. I love drawing Joker.
Thank you.
But yeah.
Oh, by the way, in the audience, put your hands up if you have not yet received a raffle ticket. If you haven't received a raffle ticket, put your hand. Look at these dodgy Supanova staff over there. Look at them, will you? Hands up in the audience if you haven't received a raffle ticket so that you can be in the draw for this afternoon. Question.
I have a question for you guys. So, being comic book fans for the three of you guys, what is the one comic book, be it from Marvel, DC, or Indies, is the one arc that one book that you've gone, man, I want to read it again and again and again?
Batman Hush.
Oh yes, it was very good, wasn't it?
It's just the thing that got me excited for it again. Look, it's probably aged a bit more, and my love for it's probably more nostalgic than anything. They've announced a sequel to it, and I'm not as excited as I should be. But it just kind of, for what Batman was doing at the time in comics, I feel like it reinvigorated it. There's been a lot of artists since that have come across, like Jorge Jimenez and Clayman, and a lot of these guys that I feel have done a great job with the IP. But Batman Hush at that time, I was, like 21 or something when it came out, something like that.
Recently, and I would love to read it over and again and continue the series, is Lady Killer by Joelle Jones. Extremely good graphic novel, and she actually just recently did the issue 1 of Turtles that just got released recently, so worth checking out.
It's a hard question. Why are you doing this to me? I don't know. There's a whole range of different stuff, to be honest. I really can't pick one at the moment.
Oh, what was your favourite that you...
The Killing Joke.
Oh, Killing Joke, yeah. Actually, believe it or not, kind of my favourite was Death in a Bottle. The Iron Man one, and we won't go into other details about that, but just the story was good. All right, hello, we have a question here.
This is a question for the artists as well. Given that you're going to be inspiring the next generation of artists, who are the artists that inspired you guys?
I'm really big into David Finch, his apprentice Jason Favik. If you guys look at my work, you'd see a lot of theirs influenced in there. Jim Lee, Silvestri. When it comes to like composition and like contemporary artists, it would have to be like Alex Ross and Gabriel Del Otto. I love their use of light, composition and storytelling. But yeah, it's like those five.
Lauren, do you have an inspiration?
I was actually heavily influenced by John, which is over in the Artist Alley, but also more recently Sean Crystal, Ink Pulp, and also Matteo Scalera as well. I've really been following their work quite closely recently. Matteo's just like next level. It's ridiculous how talented that man is, but still, there's a whole different range, like it's hard to list them all.
So John, I believe, is doing the sketch off tomorrow, so yeah. Jamie, for you?
Started off Jim Lee, even before I knew who he was. It was like his X-Men run in the 90s, you know, back when the trading cards and everything, that was like my, you know, big indulgence, I guess. And then obviously that came later into Batman Hush and things like that. But yeah, there's so many artists, especially since social media, since Instagram and everything, we just have access to a lot more. So the more painterly stuff, obviously like Alex Ross, but you know, Luis La Rosa, Alvaro Nuevo and those guys. But like I said, Jorge Jimenez, who has this kind of fusion of like a manga anime kind of style, but in a kind of Western you know, finish. And I don't know, it's just, it changes. It just, you kind of see things from different artists and it kind of elevates it. There's been Kale New, NGU, I think is how he's pronounced. He does a lot of very cool like line work. But even Supanova's gotten some cool, you know, overseas guests, Lip Wei Chang.
His work's amazing.
Yeah, and I was tabling next to him for a couple of shows, and he's a very humble guy, but like it's just really cool to see. He comes from that kind of, you know, art germ, that kind of thing. So it's not necessarily, it doesn't necessarily influence my work, but you can kind of see what their intention is behind the art, and it kind of gives you ideas on application and stuff. So yeah.
And here we go. Last question before we give you time to finish off your works. And your question is?
Do you guys have a least favourite medium to work with?
Yeah, sketch-offs.
Not really, to be honest with you. I think it's about turning your weaknesses into strength. So if you find something hard, and I think what Lauren was saying, it's like whatever you're trying to improve at or get better at, it's kind of, instead of shying away from it, it's like exposure therapy, you know? It's like going, all right, well, this conquering the beast, I find this hard, so therefore I want to take a run at it. And a lot of, look, you got to be not afraid to fail. Like sometimes you'll do something and it won't be your best work, but it's a stepping stone and you have to take it. And look, for me, I don't mind sharing those failures. You know, I'll put those things online. It might not be my best work, but it shows the progression. So when you see the final art, you know kind of the intention of where it came from.
It's a good point. I think everyone goes through that phase where they're just like, oh, I don't want to show this. I can see that it's wrong, blah, blah, blah. But as soon as you realize the fact that you can see it wrong means you're improving.
You're on the right track.
Think of it like that instead of thinking it as a negative, being like, I did it wrong. No, you did it and you picked up that it was wrong. And that gives you a bit more perspective on how and what you need to focus on next.
I forgot the question.
Is there a least?
We kind of morphed it into something else.
Is there a least favourite medium for you?
Oh.
Or like drawing something.
I'd like to learn everything, put it that way.
Okay. We're down to now leaving the guys 5 minutes to finish off their work and just top it up and get everything ready. Other than the Supanova volunteers, is there anybody who has not gotten a raffle ticket yet? Anybody who's not gotten a raffle ticket yet here watching the sketch-off? You don't have to be sitting in here if you're just standing around the outside. Have you got a raffle? Got them all? All right, good. Yeah, that's good. Do not let the Supanova volunteers try and bribe you, okay, to take your tickets. They will do that. They're like that. So, see, look, there they are. So just do not. This is my chance to vote. I was very fortunate a few years ago. We had George Perez at a Supanova. And he did a master class on a Friday night, and I got to host the master class. And the way he responded to questions, you'd ask him a question, like I asked him a question, I said, how do you get emotion into somebody like Iron Man? Because George did a lot of Iron Man. So he had a sketchbook and he drew panels showing how you did that. So he would respond to the questions by drawing his answer. And at the end of that masterclass, he gave all of us who asked the questions that piece of work and signed it. So I actually have a signed original George Perez piece of work sitting at home. So that's my little gloat. Yay for me. So that's one of the perks of doing this. Yeah, it's really good. Not to mention watching these talented people put me to shame, because like my stick figures are so bad they won't even use them to start a fire. Okay, that's how bad a drawer I just can't do it. Again, hands up if you do not have a raffle ticket. Here, can you give this person a raffle ticket, please? Thank you, because she's dodgy. So, anybody else? You all have raffle tickets? You all got them? Yeah, grab one. You're here watching, take a raffle ticket. When their artwork, it's going to be drawn in like 3 minutes. Go on. Here, come closer. Here's one here, intern. Here's another. This is my intern. This is my intern, Roy. Over there, excuse me, intern, when you get through, there's another one over there. Look, over there. Look, hand up over there. Yeah, we're down to 3 minutes left. 3 minutes left for the guys, for everybody to be finishing up their work. 3 minutes left. Whoa. And remember, at the 10-second mark, I will need your assistance with the countdown. Did you not have a raffle ticket? You've got one, okay. I thought you were just trying to get the intern to... All right. So through 2 minutes and 40 seconds, as I said, in the last 10 seconds, I'm going to need you all to help me out. And again, what we'll then do is I will go down the line as our talented artists show us their artwork, and I will get you to applaud, and we will decide who our favourite is. We do not have winners and losers here. We just have our favourite for the day, and then everything else. So, that's the way it works. As we get down to almost down to last minute. Now, again, are you enjoying our bonus day today? An extra day for Supanova for 100. 100 shows for Supanova, which is quite an achievement. It's great. Oh, look, there's Indy's dad over there. Oh, hello, Indy's dad. Way, Dad, good on him. 100 shows, so we keep going strong. Hopefully, you might all be back here for the 200th show. I'll probably be in a retirement home for old MCs by that stage, but you never know. Okay, what day would that be if there's 200 shows, 6 shows a year, another 100 shows? That's okay. Let's forget about that. Let's forget about that. Oh my goodness, I've been doing this for too long. That's the problem. All right, we're down to a minute and a half. 1 minute and a half. By the way. Who's here to see some of the authors? Who's here to see Matthew Riley? Go and see him. I just watched his movie in Interceptor on Netflix. Really good. He directed it as well. So he wrote the screenplay, he directed it. Very good. There's also a surprise in there, but I won't mention it and ruin anything. About the whole thing. Look at this. 45 seconds left. And what normally happens is we do the countdown and it's like pencils down and the artists promptly ignore us and just keep going. So, it's like...
Did that last week.
Yeah. But that was the intern's fault for turning up late, so we allowed that to happen. All right, we're down to under 30 seconds now. Under 30 seconds for our artists, and then we're going to need you guys to help me with the countdown. All right, here we go. Are you ready? Lungs at the ready as we get ready for the countdown. Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pencils down. Give them a round of applause.
So I've just stepped out of the convention centre on the way back home after visiting Brisbane Supernova. very cool to be here for the 100 Supanova. As I can't remember which one of the artists said, they've been a great support for and a platform for local creatives, whether it's the comic artists that we love or any of the artists, the authors, the trinket makers, anyone who's been to a Supanova knows what I'm talking about. There's just stuff everywhere for all kinds of people, and for a company to bring people together and provide an avenue or a marketplace for that is just sensational. So congratulations to Supanova on their 100th event. I'll certainly make sure that there's some photos from the sketch off that are posted in accompanying this podcast. It is an audio one because I was not videoing, just concentrating on being, I guess, there in the moment, and hopefully the audio has brought some of that to you folk. The photos of the 3 sketches that Alex, Lauren and Jamie did will accompany this. As I say, the photos of those, the sketches were unreal, and as I said to each of them as we left, if those were sketches or art pieces that were presented at a Lee Falk dinner for auction, then we'd be talking hundreds into the thousands of dollars perhaps, in the right environment at the end of the night with the right auctioneer, Anthony DiDio. So look, for them to give their time back to Supanova and sketch those off and raffle them off to people lucky enough to be in the audience. Sadly, ticket number Purple 8 did not come out, so nothing for Chronicle Chamber there, sadly. I would have thought that the Phantom T-shirt in the audience might have been a bit of a giveaway for yours truly, but sadly not to be. The 3 people who got it, though, were absolutely chuffed. Particularly, it must be said, the lady who was lucky enough to win Alex's, she was absolutely stoked and couldn't have gone to someone more grateful to receive it. So anyway, we'll move on. I'm not sure what other recordings we'll get, whether from other events. It's mostly fan gatherings from here on in. As far as Phantom stuff goes at the Supanova, it really was limited to those 3 artists. There's a couple of boxes of the comics available for sale at Oz Comics. Their booth had basically from the 600s to present available in the Frews. There's a couple of the icon statues as well at one of the statue booths. So pretty slim pickings from a fandom perspective, except for, as I say, lucky enough to meet those 3 artists. And I'm glad we're able to hear from them in the pod. So anyway, until the next phase, hope you're enjoying it so far. All right, so we moved from the Supanova to the next day, and it kicked off with just a very casual breakfast hosted by Chris Hill and his lovely wife Kim. Wonderful hosts, and it was just a delight. You sort of headed over to a house in suburban Brisbane with a wide open front door and just a gaggle of Phantom fans milling around and enjoying each other's company. Lots of friends catching up, people who hadn't seen each other for a while, and really good to sit down and enjoy some of the beautiful food that had been prepared and just have chats and catch up. And to be fair, we talked about footy more than we probably talked about fandom, some of us, but I was there for probably an hour and a half before and didn't see Chris probably for the first hour because I was too busy catching up with other people, and Chris was downstairs in his skull cave showing off the collection to various guests as they wandered through. There's a minor treasure room upstairs and a major treasure room downstairs, and fair to say when we walked in and my wife saw the minor treasure room, she thought, wow, that's really impressive, and had no idea of the treasure trove that we were to experience downstairs. So absolutely fantastic to catch up with folk and to see Chris's collection. Chris and Kim have recently moved, and he's in the throes of getting the skull cave set out. It's starting to look really, really good. A wonderful display of a really extensive collection. He'll be the first one to say that he's probably got heaps more he wants to do, and reorganising and putting things in different places and getting it all set out. But we were downstairs for half an hour, and it could have been a lot longer than that by the time you try and explore everything. But anyway, the main thing was that it was great to catch up with people ahead of the Saturday. Lots of people headed out to Supanova again on the Saturday, so really good to see. enjoying themselves out there. And then as we're about to cut to was the next thing was the Saturday night dinner, and that was put together by Christopher Schaefer, and we'll talk more about Christopher as we do the outro, I guess, of this podcast. From here, what we're going to cut to is the sounds of the dinner. Look, to be fair, there wasn't I didn't record heaps at the dinner because most of the chats were just while there was some fascinating fandom conversations and all the rest of it was just it was just a conversation that we were having amongst ourselves and not really looking to record things for the podcast there, just being in the moment. But Shane Foley, who is a Frew cover and more predominantly lately a Frew story artist, was the guest speaker, and he and Christopher did a bit of a Q&A, and so that's what we're going to cut to in a moment, is the Q&A with Shane. Apologies for the sound quality. It was not necessarily the best. We did get the music turned down at one point, so if you're struggling early, hopefully the quality of the audio picks up. I'm sure it will. But it was a really interesting chat with Shane, pretty wide and far-ranging, and I know that a lot of people will have heard from Shane before on the podcast, but again, he covers some new ground and talks about some of the stuff that he's got coming up, and sort of talks about how he got to where he is. So anyway, I really hope you enjoy that, and we'll see you on the other side of Shane's chat.
I have with me Shane Foley, who needs no introduction, and if you have missed the introduction, is there an interview on Chronicle Chamber?
Maybe 3 or 4.
Yes. So we won't go over those details. Shane is a phantom writer and artist with Bundaberg, and about a year ago there was an exhibit where I met most of you, including Shane.
Yeah.
It's a great photo. I've got phantom photo bombing us in the background.
Yeah, that's right.
So Shane, thank you very much for agreeing to do this.
Easy, it's amongst friends.
Exactly. It was about a year ago that we had the opening night for the exhibit in Wonderberg.
Yeah.
What's it like a year on? What's been the impact on the local arts community and on your life?
Well, I don't know. The exhibition in Bundy won some sort of award amongst the galleries. They put it up. Bundy's getting bigger, but it's still relatively country town. It's a nice country town. I love living there. But normally for the opening of exhibitions, they get about 30 people. For ours, they got 300. And I still remember being shocked at what happened, because I said, look, I'll go to the airport and get Glenn Ford because I know what he looks like. So I go to the airport. It's only a little airport to get Glenn Ford. And here's Glenn walking, and behind him, Brad and Joyful. I think, I know these people. They're from down south. Then I turn around, there's John Cookson from Rocky, who's come to pick him up. And all these people turned up. It was wonderful. It really was. Yeah, it was really... it went down very well, and the people there did a marvellous job. Paul up here donated a lot of stuff. He can boo me all he likes, but he did a good job. And donated so much stuff to it, and it was really well put together. And I was... it started because people didn't believe a fandom artist lived in Bundaberg, and I said, well, artists have got to live somewhere. We're just people. But it grew from there, and the biggest shock for me was when I suddenly got an email from David Barry, Cy Barry's son, saying, oh, would you like some of Dad's stuff? And I'm going, what? Are you offering me? So I quickly fobbed that off to Rebecca, who was arguing it, because they can work out the insurance and that sort of stuff. But it was amazing. Someone told them it was happening. I think it was Jermaine one who told them that the exhibition was on. And yeah, it was just... incredible, very, very good.
And it was on, and it was incredible.
Yeah, I was stunned.
For those who missed it, this art was put together for the exhibit, or you had to?
This is from a rejected panel in a story.
Shouldn't have been rejected.
It was rejected because he didn't tell the story properly, and it's from the story you like. I'll tell you about that.
Yeah, excellent. We will come to that. For those who missed it, the art was actually projected onto the side of the gallery at night.
Yeah.
So there was, and it was really good. There was just a small piece of blank wall, and at night they had...
they threw it up there. It was very, very good.
It was great. All right, well, before we get to that one, when's the next exhibit? It's got to be bigger and better than that one, which has already won awards. It's got to win multiple awards.
Well, we had lots of people saying, "Is it touring? Is it touring?" And I'm going, hard work.
So we need to convince. We need to convince Shane to take it on tour.
Look, there's so many people here with a lot more stuff than I've got. Between all these collectors, they can tour it. If you took my artwork out of it, there's still a lot you can put in that these guys have got.
I will say as well, for the art that we have this evening, it's all Shane's art. Two of the pieces on the napkin and the coaster is actually from Terry Cray's collection. So it's all Shane's art, but it's not all in Shane's hands. So maybe we can do a tour and invite you to your tour. Now, I think the biggest of the recent pieces, certainly for me, was Royal Hero, which was, I think that was just a splendid addition to the story.
Well, that was Pity Anderson's story, wasn't it?
Did you do the...
I did the artwork and the cover, but I didn't write it. That's one that Pity Anderson in Sweden wrote.
Yeah. But it's incomplete without... It's just text on a page without the art. It's only halfway.
And he wrote that.
I can write stuff myself.
Sorry to interrupt. So how did you get the gig of the art?
Through Glenn Ford or Dudley, one of the two. Emily Pity wrote that story a long time. I think way back in the heady days when Glenn Ford was all new to it, he was getting stories written everywhere. I've got an Andrew Constant story sitting at home, a sequel to the Iron Dragon story, and I never got a chance to draw it. I've had it sitting there, and then of course King suddenly wanted to vet all the stories they were getting, and so I couldn't draw it without it being vetted, and Glenn's never got back to me, but he's paid Andrew Constant for it years and years ago, and it's never been done. And he did the same with that Royal Hero, the sequel to Maharaja's daughter. Yeah. And they had it sitting there for a long time, and then I got to a point where I'm saying to Glenn, well, what do you want me to do? I've got Sir Falcon, Planet Man, Phan, and what do you want? And he said, can you do this one? And it was quite accidental that it turned out for this 2000th issue. It wasn't done for that. It was just done as an issue. And Dudley said, we can do it this way. So I don't think Dudley had planned much ahead. And so that's what they did.
You mentioned that you don't do pure Phantom work. How did you get into the Phantom? Why did
I don't do pure Phantom work.
You do Sir Falcon as well.
I even told Chronicle Chamber once I'd rather do Sir Falcon because then I can make him up. With the Phantom, there's so much lore you got to get right.
So why the Phantom? Where did that start?
I've read comics all my life. I've been a bit of a Marvel fan. I love the 60s Fantastic Four, but the Phantom started it. I still remember. Forgive me if you heard this story before, but I'm Victorian, and we used to holiday a lot in a caravan. I still remember in the caravan as a 7 or 8 year old lifting. You used to put the table down, the beds down, and you had all your straws, lifting up a seat, and there was a comic, and it was a Phantom, and I read it, and light bulb went off. I just loved it, and it's interesting. My memories of that story were correct. Once you get on the net and can search things, I found out my memory of the cover and my memory of what's in it was right, because in it, it's a story where Devil's captured, and the natives are coming past, and they're looking at Devil in a cage and saying, "Taboo. Taboo." And I remember as a kid thinking, what are they calling him Taboo for? His name's Devil. And so already comics are teaching reading comprehension, But I always loved the Phantom. I went off the Phantom, I don't remember when, but when Jim Shepard started bringing out the big fat ones, the Phantom Goes to War, the first big one he sort of, I'd never heard of the Phantom Goes to War. And I started buying that, and then I started buying all the Ray Moore, Wilson McCoy stuff, and since then I've even got to like some of the Scandinavian stuff. But it started me because I'd buy them occasionally, and you remember how when Jim Shepard still had the reins, what they would do sometimes is just get a panel in the comic, blow it up on the photocopier, and that was the cover, and it lost all detail. And I remember getting one thinking, this is terrible. So what I did was I went home, traced the cover, but made it detailed, and on the one I had, the Phantom was even Mr. Walker in this hat coat. So I did 2 versions. One was the better version of that, and one was the version where it's actually the Phantom in costume. And I sent it off. Dudley was there. So maybe this is Judith Shepherd's period, I'm not sure. I sent it off, and I got a letter back saying, sorry, we can't afford you. And I said I'd do it for $200, I think, and they said, sorry, too much. I think, really? Okay.
I'll check again later.
Well, $200 is a bit more than the cost of a photocopy of Blown Up. But then a year later, I didn't know all about the shenanigans going on, but Glenn Ford and Renee White had taken over, and Dudley was still there. And I got a phone call one day after work. I was still in Ambo at that stage, and he said, "This is Dudley."
Calling from Frew.
What's his name? Dudley Hogarth. The name went out of my head. Dudley Hogarth. Yeah, and I'm thinking, who's that? Who's that? But he must have kept that thing I sent in, and he had it for over a year, and they offered me a cover. And I said, oh, yeah, $200? Yeah, no worries. And if we do it again, we'll pay you again. I go, wow. And so I did one, then I did another one. And it sort of started because then I found out they were going to start doing giant size, which I'd never heard of. I didn't know it was an old 50s title. And I was going through my old books, and I found I had a copy of Sir Falcon. And I have no idea where it came from. I'm thinking, never heard of him. Why have I got a comic of Sir Falcon? And I read it, and I thought, what a terrible rip-off of the Phantom this is. It was just blatant. And so I did my first little story that went in Giant Size Pen number 1, basically poking fun at it and showing that we acknowledge that this is what it is. And Glenn Ford loved it, and it got published. And ever since then, I've been doing stories, not more than covers. So, does that answer the question?
Well, I think so. I will say, one of my favourite covers now, after going to the exhibit in Bundaberg, was you told us a story about how, and you mentioned again this morning at breakfast, you draw the Phantom's cowl a little bit too high. So there's a cover, and I love this part, there's a cover where on the back the cowl is high, and Shane's gone, oh, that's not acceptable. So it's whited out and then drawn a lower cowl. So the original art now doesn't match the published cover. So I like that sort of, those little quirks. And I understand perfectionism. You have to. You've got to fix it. If you know there's a mistake.
Pretty sure Paul owns...
Do you have that one?
Do you have the poster of Sir Falcon and the Phantom? Did you buy that? That one. Don't you ever show it to me or I'll rip it off you. Because the Phantom's cowl goes up here.
It's part of the development of the artist.
How did I do that? I hate it.
Necessary.
I paid more than 200.
so that it wasn't published.
Did you? Yeah.
Yes. Stop it.
No, I'm gonna. When I come to your place next, I'm bringing some white out in my pocket.
Don't forget to initial the amendments.
Good luck digging under the bed.
I'm gonna bring up the topic you mentioned. One of my favourite of your stories is Ghost Walkers. There's one really small story at the back of one of the Frew issues, and it's about it's a future Phantom. It doesn't even give a year, which I think is great. I love it. And I've heard that it's not always fan favourite. The idea is all of the characters are there, but now like Devil's AI and the jungle is the city and all this sort of stuff. I have to ask, have you read Neuromancer? Is that the inspiration? Where did you come up with the...
I actually first started doing it. Is everybody familiar with the story? It's called Ghost Walkers. Hey? There's a couple of people with animal masks going into a place called the jungle, and it's obviously in the future, and they try to break into... I named the place after that lady pirate.
Yep.
And trying to get information, but suddenly what she's getting explodes. There's a skull there, and
they're hacking in on computers.
And there's a beam hits her, and there's a skull mark left there, and there's a bloke, obviously the Phantom in a big trench coat, and he's got this robotic thing floating around him, and he calls it Devil. and then later on you find out that Phantom, his name is Guran, and he talks to another Phantom who's sitting somewhere. He's got a coat on. I've always loved the way Ray Moore used to draw the Phantom with like the shaving coat on, you know, as if he'd come home. And so I did this guy like that. And it was interesting because when Jermaine and Dan were discussing it, and Steve maybe, they thought, oh, this Phantom's obviously injured and sick. And I thought, oh, never thought of that. And Dudley, when Dudley published it, he said he did not pass it by Kings. He wasn't sure.
I'm glad he didn't.
But what was the question?
Where's the inspiration for it? If you haven't read
No, the inspiration, there was another future Phantom story done by, was it Andrew Constant and somebody? Yeah. They did one about the Phantom where they said at the end the 21st was always the best Phantom or something, at the guns.
They downloaded him into a robot.
Yeah, the robot thing. That's right, the robot one. And I sort of just had an idea of, because it's a little 8-page thing, I thought I can throw enough stuff up there to be interesting and answer nothing.
Yes, I know. When do we get the rest?
I don't have to know what's going on. And I'll tell you now, I have no idea what's going on. And I even did a last page where, I don't know if you picked it, but there's a lady looking saying, our old foe is here.
Yeah, exactly.
And you've got no idea who she is.
It's Sing. It's obviously the Sing descendants.
Is it?
Oh, no, but it obviously is.
Is it now? And then there's a bloke in the front, I deliberately modelled his profile of Mr. Hogg. I don't know if anyone picked that. But is it him or just some ugly bloke? And who is she? No idea. And it says our ancient battle is continuing or something.
It's got to be.
All right, well...
You're the master of suspense, mate.
It's great.
And the suspense is going to hang a bit longer, I'm afraid.
So there's no Ghost Walkers.
Well, here's an invitation. Someone write a sequel and send it to me.
Yeah, all right. I'll just put that in right. Let me get it. So there's no Ghost Walkers in the works.
It's just a little vignette that sort of worked. I sent it in. They liked it.
It's
okay.
Great.
And you know where it switches from. There's the Phantom with Devil who's knocked the people out, and he's got the trench coaty thing on, and then he calls to obviously another Phantom. Yeah. Well, originally I even had a lady Phantom as well in the front, as if there were lots of little Phantoms running around now. But originally, when he called the Phantom, the picture, like he's sitting there on his throne with the coat on, and there's these globes. But originally I didn't have that picture. I had this one, and he also had you could see he had like a shave coat on. But then I thought, he looks too much like the other Grand Phantom. People are going to say, what's he talking about? He's talking to himself or something. So that's part of the storytelling thing. You've got to, even though I like the picture, I've always liked it, but I thought the storytelling is not clear, so I had to junk it. And I put the big Phantom, so it's obviously a different Phantom to the other one, so that I don't have to try and, I wasn't being too subtle, you know. They're the sort of issues that storytellers do all the time, and hopefully it reads so easy you don't even know those problems were ever grappled with, but that's what we do. And I can get, well, there's probably often times where people can look at my stuff and say, well, you didn't do that very well. I accept that, but I often look at some of the European stuff and I go, oh, you didn't do that very well.
there are a few.
That's why I love anybody who knows, like if you're a fan of it. Is there people who know who Jack Kirby is? Yeah. Jack Kirby, he created most of the Marvel guys. He was absolutely brilliant at drawing a panel, and there can be tons of detail in it. Then you go to the next panel with tons of detail, but your eye goes to the right place every time. And he does that with his blacks and his shadows and his shapes. And it's I think it's just brilliant, and I reckon there's a lot of comic artists now have not learnt that. And so you sort of can easily get lost in a page. In a Kirby page, there can be detail galore, but you're never lost. And I've tried to absorb that, even though when I'm drawing the Phantom, I try not to draw like Jack Kirby, because Jack Kirby, all these guys are really big, like Thor, you know, and the Phantom isn't like that. And he's big, but he's not. He's like a swimmer, not a diver, not the Hulk. So, but I try to do the storytelling anyway. I'm getting carried away.
Now, I've got to ask. What's coming? What's next? Do you have a sneak peek of what's available?
Well, you were talking about. You know, I mostly do the backup stuff. I've had that one called Bad Blood in Bengala.
I was going to ask about that one too.
Yeah. Well, the follow-up is about the Leopard Man, who was in that one.
Yeah, which more questions unanswered?
Yeah, well, Frew have it. They have all 6 parts of that.
Okay.
And
right to Dudley.
Well, I'm presuming Dudley knows it's coming. He's got it.
Yeah.
And he wanted it all so he could pass it by King to make sure I hadn't blasphemed somehow by killing somebody or... And I think it's going to run after Duncan's story finishes. And the thing is, well, here's a bit of inside stuff. When I was doing it, I hope it works. Sometimes you read your story and you think, no, I didn't write a very good story, but I'm committed now.
We're 4 pages in, let's keep going.
And it was approved, but that didn't mean anything. I get the feeling that the people at King, some of them don't know much about the fandom. They just know what you can and can't do. But whether the story's good or not, well, that's up to you guys to work out. I was happy with it once when I was drawing it. I'm thinking, yeah, okay. But here's the inside stuff. When I got to the last part, because we're supposed to do 8 pages for the backup things, right? Because the front ones are 24, the backups are 8, that gives 32. Or the front ones was 22. They can put a letters page in. I know Dudley's had a bit of trouble with Duncan's current story because they did them all at 10 pages. That's why they're running long. He's got no room left. And I did a couple at 10 way back when I did the Golden Queen one or something. That was 10, but I've cut it back to 8. But when I was doing this story, I found in the last part, I thought, I can't do it in 8. And I can't split it into 2. And I ended up doing it in 12.
Perfect.
So I rang Dudley and said, I've got some good news and some bad news. And I said, I've got a 12-parter. He's going, oh, crap. What am I going to do with this? And I said, but there's some other stories that are approved here, and I've got one that I can do in 18. So how about when we get to the last part, I will give you an 18-page story that goes in the front, so you've got 30. And he's going, oh, thanks. So I'm blowing my own trumpet here, telling him I'm a good guy. And he said something about, oh, you'll have to do the cover too. This is Shane Foley blowing his own trumpet.
Did you bring that cover with you?
I haven't done that cover.
I noticed there's some portfolio.
I have brought some stuff here. I don't know what to see. What is in there is the cover for the next Giant Size, which no one's seen yet. I've got that in there.
Let's have a look.
Good question for Shane.
Yeah.
So on your business card now, is it Phantom Writer first or is it Phantom Artist first?
On my business card, the Phantom's not on it at all. That still says that I do teaching, and I think I hate teaching.
So you're a Phantom storyteller.
Okay. I'd like to put Tarzan there too, because I do Tarzan as well. Yeah.
But I want to ask the question back. Which one's better, writer or artist?
Writer.
Artist.
I'm hearing murmurs on both sides. So
I prefer.
I think we need both, and I think it's really important that you are both.
Well,
have you always been a writer though?
I've always plotted my own stuff. One of the things I've always done is if I have a comic series I like that suddenly goes bad, I plot what it should have done. And I've got folders and folders of where the Fantastic Four went wrong, where the Defenders went wrong.
Giant Size Fantastic Four.
I didn't, and I've got lots of stuff which I wanted to do with Sir Falcon, but it came that Sir Falcon wasn't going to run his own stories to the other Phantom anymore, so that won't go anywhere. But I haven't done that much with the Phantom, really. It's that I've always written and plotted my own stuff. I've got my own creations sitting at home, sitting in a folder, you know. But what I enjoy. Do you want me to ramble on?
A little bit. I was going to ask something.
On your own stuff, have you ever thought about?
Sorry?
On your own stuff, have you ever thought about doing your own, like publishing your own?
Yeah, it'd have to be online probably now, the way things go. And it's just easier doing the Phantom stuff because there's an audience. And it's already there and I don't have to worry about pushing it or something. You know, so I have fun actually. You've probably noticed the way I do Phantom stories, except for things like Ghost Walkers.
The best Phantom story.
The best Phantom is I like looking at my period for the Phantom was Wilson McCoy and then very early Cy Barry, right? I try to make the Phantom look like very early Cy Barry. I don't, you know, I really do try to do that. But you'll notice a lot of my stuff, I like taking, Wilson McCoy often introduced characters and never went back to them, right? So I find it funny that he could have introduced a character in 1951 and here in 2024 I'm doing the character's second appearance. But I find that in Australia, you know, we've had the stories reprinted so many times that most people have access to all the Wilson McCoy stuff or something, you know. And hopefully I write in a way that if someone doesn't know who it is, it doesn't affect the story. But for those who do, they go, oh, wow, that's the idea. And I'm really pleased that from what Dudley said and what the feedback I get, it seems to be working. People seem to enjoy that because I know it reads nothing like the Egmont story, the Scandinavian stories. They're very different. They don't very rarely do that. And
is that there are so many Easter eggs in your stories.
Yeah, I try to do that.
Especially Bad Blood Bengala just was.
Yeah, that's cobbled together all these old things.
That should have been the Easter special, I think. How many eggs there were. Is that part of it when you have the second appearance of a character? You it's not necessarily the main part of the story, but you want to develop it and give people that those who are in the know.
Yeah,
there's more to the story. There's another layer.
I like doing that. It's like there was a page for those who remember Bad Blood in Bengala. I keep using the Golden People, which was a pretty awful Lee Falk story, but I had this plot ages ago where I just thought, well, I'm going to use them. It's a bit like, I know in the Chronicle Chamber, the guys have said, there are so many tribes, can you creators please not make new ones, use the ones that are already there? And I thought, that is a really good point. And despite what Jermaine said once, I have not made up a new one. I keep using ones, but some are pretty vague. But with the Golden People, there was a page at the end of Bad Blood in Bengala where, you know, if you remember it, the baddie wants the sleeping potion from that Valley of No Return story. What I like doing is taking bits and putting them all together to make a story out of it. The Golden Man wants the sleeping potion because he remembers stories about the sleeping potion, which I made up. There, you know, Lee Falk didn't have that. But then someone else says, oh, that's rubbish, because we've heard stories about giants and little tiny people and there's a dinosaur down there. And I picked all these bits that are actually in the stories. And I even picked one out of one of the later Lee Falk stories about some hypnotic plant or something. I don't know. Put that in. And so hopefully people that know them go, oh, I know that. It's just little Easter eggs, yeah, to try and be interesting and try and make the universe a bit more cohesive without making it too small.
Yeah, so when you're developing stories and new characters, I'm thinking Supanova now. There isn't that there. What approach do you take there? How do you learn new characters?
Oh, you can always make them up. Usually you think through. Often with me it starts, if you've got a story, like with Sir Falcon, he lives in a castle, right, in England.
Obviously.
And I've introduced a woman that cleans the place for him or looks after him. And I thought, well, how does she get to the castle and everybody doesn't know who she is? So I made up a story of a tunnel system and they wear masks. It just, often there are these irregularities in stories where it wouldn't work. Yeah. So I try sometimes to see if I can find an interesting way to make it work. And sometimes that develops into a whole story. Sometimes you just make it out of whole cloth. You know, pinch a Marvel story and use it.
Yeah, do a better version.
Yeah.
Now, I do. Can we see some of the art? Are we allowed to?
Yeah, if you want to. Phantom purple?
Of course.
It's not really.
It is now.
That's a bit lucky.
It's been Shane Foley approved.
Is there any other questions? Like I've been rambling. Anybody got something they want to ask?
This is a chance. And any questions from the floor? We have been invited officially by Shane Foley.
Shane, do you have much original artwork yourself of any of the
other than yours?
Of older artists and such at all?
I have 3 Wilson McCoys and 2 Cy Barrys, one big and one small, and that's it.
What made you want to get the original artwork?
Well, it's nice to see how they do it. I've been amazed at how clean Wilson McCoys are.
I know, it's
and it stuns me that on the lettering there are no lines. And is it true that his wife lettered them? Someone know that? Wilson McCoy's wife? Or someone? But I'd say, I think she must have done it on a light box, because that's the way I used to do mine, rather than do the stuff. you'd have a page with the lines. Then you'd put the page on the light box, then your page over the top of that, so the lines are there, but they're never actually on the original artwork.
Yeah.
And I think she must have done it that way, but it's beautiful just seeing how he does it.
I've always liked that story myself, the sort of partnership in a way.
Yeah. And I've got just enough so I can see what they are, see how big they were. I've got one Cy Barry from the Mysterious Ambassador, the first General Bababi one, that's quite big. And then another one later, it's quite small. And it's just to see what they like, that's it. I don't need any more than that. No, I'm not a collector of that per se.
No, that's what I like myself too, is to see how they did it.
Oh, you mentioned that 2000th issue. There's another version of the cover. I did the cover again and I didn't like it. Yeah, Chris, another version of that one. It didn't have the tiger in it.
200.
I don't know.
I think it's gone up. I think it's a bit more than that.
201.
There's the next giant-sized cover that hasn't been published yet.
I should have a look at this.
Wow. It's got, because I was going to put, 4 heroes there. I was going to say to Glenn Ford, which heroes are in it? I put them there, and he said, I want all of them. Oh, thanks very much. So there's 9. 9 heroes. So that's that.
Hang on.
Oh, sorry. And I thought it was. There's hang on. And just to say, I originally thought maybe there it is in pencil, but with a different Phantom figure. So that's a bit hard to see, probably, is it? But that's
nice too.
For some reason, Glenn wanted the Phantom bigger and looking at you, but I'd already done it that way, thinking he'd probably want the figure, and he didn't.
How long does it take you to do?
There's a lot of more planning in a cover, maybe a day. Do you want to pass it around? Can if you like. Have a look.
The pencil's
Hey?
The pencil as well. Smudge it off it.
No. Do you want to pass? You can pass it around. Don't get any food on them, please.
You may not get it back.
Here's the lady Phantom.
$200 will come back the other way.
There's the lady one. That's how big I do them. They're A3. That's all they are. Sorry, what? Yeah, the comic page has done that big. Yeah. The only one that wasn't was you remember for Matt Kime, he did a story called Diana and the Heartbreak Club, and that deliberately mimicked Wilson McCoy, and his art got rejected over in King, so that I was asked to re-ink it, and I sort of changed a lot of it, but to get the Wilson McCoy look, he had 4 tiers on the page. Now that's pretty small, and even at this size, that's pretty small. So I did 2 tiers that big, that way. So every page was done twice up. That's the only one I've done like that. Does anyone want to see this? Well, this one, you're familiar with that?
You've got to be careful. We want to have a look at all of them. We won't send them down one per person.
None of them are getting past balls.
So here's that one of the lady Phantom. I maybe come up here and have a look later or something. But there's like.
You're not allowed to fold it and put it in your pocket, Paul. Not allowed to fold it.
Sometimes it goes through a lot of different versions. There's different versions of the lady Phantom.
You do multiple versions on the same page.
That was. But see, that's just mucking around with it.
Yeah.
And if I was happy with them, I would lightbox that and leave off the ones I don't like. See, I ended up with that one, and even there I was mucking around with the head. But that doesn't turn up on the final.
Two-headed Phantom. Stories on the way.
Well, I hope you very much enjoyed that. I know there's lots more that could have been recorded or shared over the weekend, but as I said earlier, it was and I'm sure people appreciate that when you're hearing these things, you as I said earlier, you're in the moment, not necessarily there to record every little thing that you hear, but hopefully you got a bit of a feel for what it was like on the weekend. The dinner in Brisbane was much smaller than what happened in Sydney the last few years. Certainly, it would have been about 20 people. I think you can probably count for yourself in the photo that we'll share with this podcast. And no auction or fundraising element to it or anything like that. Just a group of like-minded people coming together to share a beautiful meal and each other's company and catch up with some old friends and make some new ones. And it was a really, really, really nice occasion. So, look, a huge thank you to Christopher Schaefer, who organised the whole thing. I probably wouldn't have gone to the Supanova if not for the dinner, and so therefore I would have missed the opportunity to catch up with the artists on the day, as well as going to the breakfast at Chris and Kim's. So headed into Brisbane for the dinner and the catch up, which was just wonderful. Christopher is, I guess, relatively new on the broader Australian Phantom scene. I think this year, well, it would have been about this time last year with the Bundaberg exhibition that Shane Foley put on, that Christopher sort of met the rest of the main players, if you want to put it that way. About a year ago, attended his first Sydney dinner this year, and then took it on himself to do what lots of us have talked about, but no one ever actually does, and that was to organise a dinner in his hometown and invite a bunch of people. So, Christopher, if you're listening to this, and I hope you are, mate, thank you so much for all of your efforts and putting it together and bringing us all together, because it was a wonderful night and a magnificent experience. So thank you so much. Also need to acknowledge, obviously, Bradley and Joyful Peach, who not only made the long journey up from the Victorian border to join us as well, but also contributed to the dinner by printing serviettes and coasters and whatnot, and of course Shane Foley for not only being the guest but providing the art for those things that Bradley and Joyful printed. So fantastic to catch up with those guys in particular. Of course, all of the regulars that I've seen a number of times. So thank you so much to those people I was able to catch up with. Even in a smaller dinner situation like that, you still can't get around to everybody, unfortunately. And I managed to have some really good chats with some people, and there's some others that I'm certainly looking forward to catch up with next time. Also good to meet some new people I haven't spent a lot of time with before. So John, Ivan and Dan, really good to catch up with you guys as well, and looking forward to seeing you again. Probably should just touch base very briefly on my wife's experience. It's the first time that she's joined me at a Phantom weekend, and she did it a bit vicariously. She came to Chris and Kim's and enjoyed the breakfast and catching up with meeting, not catching up with, but I was catching up with people I'd known, and Nat was meeting them for the first time. I really enjoyed showing her Chris's Phantom room, because it proved to her that I do not have a Phantom addiction, and in fact I barely have a collection compared to Chris's Skull Cave. So it certainly put that in perspective, and probably gives me a little bit more room to grow, which is nice. I think she was a bit blown away that when we come together, we don't actually all just sit around and talk Phantom all the time. And I think she commented that she spoke to a lot of the other Phantom widows, Phantom wives, I should say, and they were talking for 10 or 20 minutes and no one even mentioned the Phantom, which I think was a surprise to her. So anyway, she enjoyed the weekend and meeting some of these people that she's only heard about from my conversations, and realising what a great bunch of people they really, really are. So look, I hope you enjoyed this little window into a small Phantom gathering in our little corner of the world. I hope that wherever you're listening to this, you've got opportunities to either organise your own gatherings or attend other gatherings that are in your neck of the woods. Any time that Phantom people come together and can talk about their favourite character or their collections or the stories they've been reading and all that sort of stuff, we all have a fantastic time. And I have certainly found that starting to make friends with that common ground, you certainly find other common ground. And it was certainly entertaining talking to Bradley about Richmond and Luke about Carlton, and basically all of us having a crack at West Coast. Sorry, Jermaine. All right. Until next time, guys, I hope you enjoyed that one. And until next time, happy Phantom.
500 years ago, he's washed ashore the sole survivor of a shipwreck. And upon the skull of the man who killed his dad, he said, "I'm mad, I must eradicate piracy." injustice and cruelty, and all my sons will follow me, so evildoers will believe that this man cannot die.
The Phantom!
The ghost who walks.
The Phantom!
Enemies beware, the Phantom's always there, but you won't find the Phantom. He fights